So we are recording. Welcome everybody. Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. Today we're reading Think and Grow Rich, pages 34 through 37. Read along with if you don't have your own copy, there is a link in the description for those watching the replay, and there is a link in the chat area. So again, if you have a copy, read along, page 34 to 37. If not, use the link. Welcome, David, and I'll start reading. Bottom of page 34. He left himself no possible way of retreat. He had to win or perish. That is all there is to the Barnes story of success. A long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation which made it necessary for him to make a decision which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed to the enemy's country, unloaded soldiers and equipment, then gave the order to burn the ships that had carried them. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, "You see the boats going up in smoke. That means that we cannot leave these shores alive unless we win. We now have no choice. We win or we perish." They won. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his ships and cut all sources of retreat. Only by so doing can one be sure of maintaining that state of mind known as a burning desire to win, essential to success. The morning after the Great Chicago Fire, a group of merchants stood on State Street, looking at the smoking remains of what had been their stores. They went into a conference to decide if they would try to rebuild or leave Chicago and start over in a more promising section of the country. They reached a decision, all except one, to leave Chicago. The merchant who decided to stay and rebuild pointed a finger at the remains of his store and said, "Gentlemen, on that very spot, I will build the world's greatest store, no matter how many times it may burn down." That was more than 50 years ago. The store was built. It stands there today, a towering monument to the power of that state of mind known as a burning desire. The easy thing for Marshall Field to have done would have been exactly what his fellow merchants did. When the going was hard and the future looked dismal, they pulled up and went where the going seemed easier. Mark well this difference between Marshall Field and the other merchants, because it is the same difference which distinguishes Edwin C. Barnes from thousands of other young men who have worked in the Edison organization. It is the same difference which distinguishes practically all who succeed from those who fail. Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches and backing those plans with persistence which does not recognize failure will bring riches. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. These. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, "I want plenty of money." Be definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent chapter. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you're ready or not, to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State that you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Sixth, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. It is important that you follow the instructions described in these 6 steps. It is especially important that you observe and follow the instructions in the 6th paragraph. You may complain that it is impossible for you to see yourself in possession of money before you actually have it. Here is where a burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money so keenly that your desire is an obsession, you will have no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will acquire it. The object is to want money and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself you will have it. Only those who become money conscious ever accumulate great riches. Money consciousness means that the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. To the uninitiated, who has not been schooled in the working principles of the human mind, these instructions may appear impractical. It may be helpful to all who fail to recognize the soundness of the 6 steps to know that the information they convey was received from Andrew Carnegie, who began as an ordinary laborer in the steel mills, but managed, despite his humble beginning, to make these principles yield him a fortune of considerably more than $100 million. It may be of further help to know that the 6 steps here recommended were carefully scrutinized by the late Thomas A. Edison, who placed his stamp of approval upon them as being not only the steps essential for the accumulation of money, but necessary for the attainment of any definite goal. The steps call for no hard labor. They call for no sacrifice. They do not require one to become ridiculous or credulous. To apply them calls for no great amount of education. But the successful application of these 6 steps does call for the sufficient imagination to enable one to see and to understand that accumulation of money cannot be left to chance, good fortune, good luck. One must realize that all who have accumulated great fortunes first did a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, wishing, desiring, and planning before they acquired money. You may as well know right here that you can never have riches in great quantities unless you can work yourself into a white heat of desire for money and actually believe you will possess it. I'm going to stop there because I think that is some great stuff to begin our discussion. Welcome everybody. Anybody who does not have a copy of Think and Grow Rich, here is a link to a PDF. Read for yourself, page 34 through 37. I want to know your thoughts, and I have Jason wanting to join us. Welcome. Goodbye, Jason. Not quite sure what happened there. All right, so we have an open seat, and I invite anybody who would want to join me in a discussion to fill the seat. Good morning, Rick. Goodbye, Rick. It was good to see you here. And welcome, John. Good to see you this morning.
You too. How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well.
Great. Good read.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? Now, what struck me and why I really wanted to focus just on these 34 through 37 because of the 6 steps is there it is, flat out. Now, we talked yesterday, Edwin and you and others shared their experience of moving further, which involved what's been described in these 6 steps. But now they're clearly laid out. This is it. This is the plan. I have a feeling that if you get it, you don't need to read the rest of the book. Am I right?
Yeah. When it comes to desire, that's certainly it's certainly proven method. Is writing it down and focusing on it. It's amazing that it's been in front of so many people's faces for so long. I think the original version of this book was written in 1933 or 1935. Mm-hmm. At least in the published form here. And it's amazing that it's there, so almost 100 years. And yet people still struggle trying to figure out, how do I get what I want? Well,
you got to want it first, right? But you have
right.
to want it. what I like about what was written, and even as I read it, I realized that one of my stumbling blocks was the concern about being so obsessed. It would be an obsession beyond all else, that I would set other things aside. And he very clearly tells us that that is not the case, that that's not what's being asked of me. And previous discussions here have assured me that that's not the requirement. You know, the desire is there, and you're stating it, and you're stating it aloud, and you're focusing on it. That is the ultimate goal that I want. What am I going to do in return? What am I, how am I going to get it? What are the steps I'm going to take? And it walks you through. Now, I can honestly say, and I shall admit to this, that though I have my major definite purpose written down, I mean, I've got it sitting up, taped up on my wall, I don't read the written statement aloud, much less twice a day. And that is something I'm going to start putting into play. Nor do I have that statement as concise as what he's saying to have it. My definite purpose, I've got 2 pages here. You know, the major definite purpose is three paragraphs, and then I've got five pieces to a self-confidence formula that I review daily, but I don't do it like he says to do it in the book. How's that?
Sure.
So welcome. As soon as you get in here, you're
pulsing there.
Yeah, he's pulsing. So as soon as he or she gets on, we'll welcome you and find out who you are. Welcome, Adam and Andy. Good to have you with us. Another seat is open. You're welcome to join us. Did you have something, John?
Yeah, I was just going to say that's why when I do the what we did yesterday, I went through the little challenge. As far as the dreams, it's very similar to what's been created. I just kind of put it in my program format, but it's the same method. You just write down exactly, very clear what you want. When do you want it? What are you going to give in exchange for it? What kind of positive affirmation are you? Incantation type of thing are you going to do? What's the plan? And then I added to it by saying reading it 5 times a day instead of the 2. And I do that because of the psychological studies that have been done that we're inundated with information, and we're very easily distracted these days. So I think the method I teach is 3 by 5 by 5. So writing it out on a 3 by 5 card, and then carrying that around with you. And it's very important, like what is pointed out there by Napoleon Hill, that Carnegie taught him, was first thing in the morning and right before you go to sleep, because that kind of implants the subconscious mind what to focus on. But again, I think we're so inundated with information these days that if we don't attack ourselves with our affirmation or our desire and keep it in front of ourselves more often, that other information can come in and distract us. So I say 3 by 5 by 5, meaning first thing in the morning, at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, then right before you go to bed. So
now I wonder have you noticed, or did you possibly do it because of the age group that you tend to focus on, the high schoolers?
Yeah, it's it could be that too. When I really started looking at it and looked at some of the auto suggestion type of studies that were going on when I was originally writing this program, that's what just stuck with me. I was like, a 3 by 5 card, 3 by 5 times a day. It made it really fun too.
So now and that is actually what I'm going to do. I've got 3 by 5s, and I'm going to do it the way that you're describing it, according to the way Napoleon Hill has it written out. What I have on the wall is my definite purpose, which is what's ahead of me. What am I working towards? But I don't have a plan written out. So what I'm thinking is, because in step 4 of the reading, he's describing create the definite plan and begin at once, whether you're ready or not, and then write out the clear, concise statement, the amount of money I want to acquire, the time limit for it to happen, what I intend to give in return, and clearly describe the plan. So what's missing off of my major definite purpose that I've been reading is describing the plan. And so I'm going to take what's there. Use your suggestion with a 3x5 because it could fit in my purse.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Vicky. Hey, she's a friend of mine. Hey,
Cool.
we'd love to have you join us if you're awake. She's in Colorado. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
I
in
don't know if you
Florida.
even went to sleep. She's newly addicted to Blab, so
It can get you.
yeah. Oh, you want to hear something really funny? Oh my goodness! I get an email yesterday from a member of a mastermind group that I was facilitating or moderating. And I had told them about Blab and told them, please, feel free to come on. Would love to have your input and participate and what have you. And she says, I don't know how this works, but she had subscribed to this and she's out in Seattle, Washington. She says, so I'm wide awake at like 4 or 5 o'clock was it 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm listening to you and darned if I can figure out where you are. She said, so she's half asleep. And she's hearing, she's hearing the stuff and she's hearing the reading, I guess, hears my voice, realizes it's me, wakes up wide awake, and then goes looking for me because she can't figure it out. And somehow or other, her system had been turned on. So it was funny.
Nice.
So, what a thing to wake up to.
Right.
All right. Good morning, dear. Glad you could join us. So my plan is after reading that, it just cements it. I'll take the 3x5. I'm going to bring it down into very clear single statements.
Right. Yep.
This is it. Here's the date. This is how much I want by this date. I intend to do it this way because actually I can do that now. When I think about it, I couldn't have done it just a few months ago because I'm in the process of changing, adding to the business. And the adding was still a little, I knew the ultimate goal of what I wanted to offer, but the getting there was still muzzy. So now that it's very clear, I'll write that in and wow, I got work to do.
That's great. Have you ever watched Napoleon Hill on YouTube?
I did one time.
He has some really, really, there's some great historic archives on there of him speaking, to these, and he does a really, really great, and one of them, he does just a phenomenal example of what this actually means, what this principle is all about, and he I believe he calls it the divine creator, he's like, oh, divine creator, and he talks about, more Edwin. And he just kind of puts it out there in this very concise statement of what to state. So it's pretty neat to watch. It gives you a really good example to feed off from.
That's one I'll put on my list to go watch. Definitely go watch that. Good morning, Edwin. Glad you could join us.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm joining you. Good morning, John. I'll be here, but not for too long.
Good morning.
So what I read, Edwin, was the part where Napoleon Hill outlines the 6 steps. And there it is. You've got your definiteness of purpose, establish a clear date, determine what it is that you want, create the plan, write it out, read it twice a day, and believe that it can happen. And the one thing that caught my attention as I was reading was actually at the beginning of the reading, and I want to share this because I was so adamant about it over the last couple of days, is that he's not telling me to obsess in the form of, he left us. Edwin, get back here, buddy.
I think the connection's not so great this morning. People are popping in and dropping off.
Yeah, and he's driving. But for Vicky's edification, I'm always getting stuck on when he says you desire it so much that, this is the focus and my goal in life. And my problem with that is that I will become obsessed to the point that it's not good for me and it excludes everything else. And I like that he pointed out that that's not the point, that that's not what it means. So it's something I'm going to, I guess maybe as I put these steps in order and start doing them, I can start feeling a little more relaxed about having it be a main goal of attainment for me, because and keep it from being the obsession I'm frightened of. You know, I know I get stuck on words, but you know, I'm a wordsmith.
Hey.
Are you still there, Edwin?
Yes, I've been here. I never left.
Yeah, but your seat's gone. Your seat's gone. All right, we're gonna blame Blab. All right. Well, good to have you, Edwin. I'll talk to him. Empty seat. That's not a problem. Sean, good to see you. Good to see you. So anyway, I'm feeling a little more confident now that I hit those 6 steps, and I'm committed to doing it differently, but also because I can. You know, because I am more clear on where I'm taking my business and how it's going to help me get to the ultimate goal that I have in mind. And you guys all know that the goal is to live full time in a really nice RV, traveling the country, you know, hearing other people's stories, recording them, but also having made enough money that I can start giving it away in little pieces that have a great impact, because it's needed right now. And that's all you need is just enough. If I have this, then we're going to be okay. It's the one less thing to worry about, kind of thing. So and honestly, that goes anywhere from $25 to $2,500, you know, and everything in between. It's amazing the impact it can have. Sometimes, actually, my husband's home now after being gone for quite a while. I was reminded that the $20 just to get him lunch. I'm not talking about the drunk, the addict begging on the street. I'm talking about a friend that says they haven't been out in a while, and you know them enough to say, let me buy you some lunch, you know, something like that. So, there it is. Somebody join us. Otherwise, you get to hear me and John, which isn't bad. Edwin, you're back.
No.
I just want to warn you. You know, there's seats. I want seats filled. I don't want to hear my own voice. I want to hear what everybody else has to say.
You didn't see me.
Nope. I can see you now. But I can't hear you.
How do I hear you?
Okay. I see. Yep. Oh my goodness! Look at she's adorable. Oh, what a cutie.
Thank you.
There, now I can hear you.
That's my baby one.
Yeah? The littlest one, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, what are you doing home and not driving to work?
Oh, I'm not working today. Fridays, I take every other Friday off.
Okay. Very nice. So, today's reading with the 6 steps, are you familiar with them? Okay.
Nope. I think we lost your audio again. Yeah, I think we lost your audio again.
Yes. I'll be back. I'm gonna leave for a little bit. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
All right.
Okay?
We'll see you.
But I'll be listening in.
Terrific. All right. So again, we're going to have 2 seats open. Anybody, feel free, jump on in. So John, when you were first exploring self-improvement and using Napoleon Hill, or first introduced, did you have difficulty getting your mind wrapped around the way he's got this laid out?
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in upstate New York, grew up on government. I told people, I grew up on government cheese, went into government service, and through that process, I've learned to be self-governed. So, it's, but yeah, I grew up with stinking thinking. I grew up without knowing, nobody taught me these steps. I actually got involved in a networking business, and somebody put this book in my hand, and I went home, threw it on the, on the desk or whatever, on the counter, and didn't touch it for a while. But the moment I did, like everybody I've ever talked to about this book, it revolutionized their lives.
Yeah.
And absolutely changed it. So but understanding that concept, it's really neat because I like how he talks, especially in the videos on YouTube now. And in the book, he talks about, at some point you might get this, and it's different for every single person in which chapter really kind of sets this into your mindset to be able to recognize the secret to getting what you want and to thinking big, So I think that's really great how he, it's like you might get it in chapter 4, I might get it in chapter 6, something like that. But at some point, but the principles are all there. And I think that's like with Bob Proctor, he reads it, daily.
Yeah.
So that in his Bible, he says he reads it daily. So I think it's important to go back over these things because it's so easy to forget as well with all the other things that we're impacted by in our lives. But yeah, I struggled a lot in the beginning for sure, and I still do at times. It's still, I'm definitely human in that aspect, and I definitely.
Phew, that's good to know.
Right, I know.
I got to tell you, buddy, you were concerning me there for a while.
Yeah, so my grandmother used to joke with us as kids, she goes, you might have a halo, but those horns are holding it up. So
there you go. What a great grandma.
Yeah,
that's funny. Now, see, that's so interesting because I come from a background of wealth. I'm totally exposed to very wealthy people. The core family unit, we had plenty. There was, I wanted for nothing. We were taught the value of what a dollar meant and what it could buy. So it wasn't that we were spoiled in that we always expected things to come. We were not entitled by any stretch. We worked, I've been working since I was 14, but I never wanted. And I never was exposed to the kind of thinking and doing that Napoleon Hill is outlining. So when the struggles that I had, of course, just the personality of obsession. I think you all know that. I'm kind of obsessing on that, aren't I? All right. So little personality things, right? The way I view things and how I do things. But I remember when I first read this many, many years ago, and the same holds true for Zig Ziglar. My father gave me cassettes of Zig Ziglar when I was a teenager, but never sat with me and talked to me about it. Nobody ever sat and discussed like we're doing now. And this, I'm going to, I say this a lot, it's stuck to my own thinking. I'm likely to misinterpret. Now, it doesn't mean I always do. It's just what I've learned is, hi, Austin, Crystal, and Bryn. I'm so glad you guys could join us. Listen, I got an empty seat. You're welcome to jump in. If you want to catch up, there's a link to the book. And I read page 34 through 37. Please keep it to the topic. And I want to hear your thoughts because that's where I'm going. First off, I was a teenager and I was messed up emotionally. So there was no way for me to grasp these kind of principles. I didn't have anybody sit and share their views so that I could get a better understanding of really what was meant. And then as I was a little bit older, into my 20s and in my 30s and read it again, it still wasn't really helpful. And I'll tell you why is because then I didn't know what I wanted. So I couldn't define what my goal was. So a lot of this was fluffy stuff because there wasn't this solid, definite goal I'm willing to do anything to get.
Sure.
So without that, it just kind of hung there and set the book aside, tried it again, but again, that in my adult life has been the, I guess that's been part of the issue is not having that definite goal to even go after. So I want to welcome, hoping I can pronounce this correctly, DeCridge and Martin. Welcome aboard. And yes, Sean, nothing like this I've seen. Okay, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, but I like you, so I'm going to star you anyway. So now today it takes on a whole different meaning. And it did after I'd started my business, just whole different meaning. Suddenly, well, yeah, I have goals that I'm going after. Here are the steps. Now it makes sense. And now I can put it to use. But I got to tell you that part of the reason that it started making sense wasn't because I was sitting reading it by myself. It was listening to other people talk about what they were seeing in it, and I'd go back, and I'd go back and I'd read it and I'd study it, and okay, I think I get it. I think I get it. And that's why I find such value in a group like this, where we're meeting like this, talking over coffee, saying, this is what I think, this is how I see it, this is how I've applied it. And that's where my little light bulbs get to go off. Oh, yeah. Let's see if Sean can stick. If not, I am going to make up a little seatbelt for people. Good morning, Sean.
Seatbelt.
Well, here it comes. I've got a seatbelt
Seatbelt.
coming now. There we go. There's the seatbelt for whomever needs it to hold you in place once you try to get on board. All right. That comes back.
I live in Guatemala. We don't have a seatbelt law.
Oh, good point. No, this dates back to the 90s in forums, and Parachat when we would do live chat. Yes, I just dated myself, but that's okay. All right.
I remember, this whole blab thing. So many people think it's like this new thing, but I remember being on IRC back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And we were doing, even back then, we were doing video chat. We didn't have 720p HD cameras on our mobile devices. I think
there's nothing new, but there's just better. And you know what? I think, was it John, you yesterday had said, who was it that said, oh, it was Edwin. Edwin had said, no need to reinvent the wheel. Our purpose now is to refine it and make it better.
Right?
So I think that's what the Blab team has done. So
one of the reasons I jumped in, obviously, was to define my statement that you starred anyway, but you weren't sure what I was saying. I was saying I haven't seen a group like this where you pick a book, a classic like Think and Grow Rich, or other books obviously possible in the future, to just sit down, read it together, discuss it. I found a couple that started on Periscope. They're calling it the book club, but they basically jump on and talk about one book one time in 1 week. Yeah. And it's like, okay, no, let's dissect it together.
Yeah, those are good for books that really don't need to be studied. So, this book is one that needs to be studied. This is more like a textbook rather than a read and then discuss, because you are not going to remember. Honestly, I always forget that the 6 steps are right up front.
Right.
I mean, I completely, because when I started reading ahead to see what I was gonna read for today, I'm thinking that's why I cut it off. I said, "Oh, there it is." I thought it was further along in the book. I even have it on audio. When I go walking, I listen to it, and there is just nothing better than studying it together. So I'm glad that you like what we're doing, and I'm glad you're participating, Sean. Hi, Ellery, welcome.
And I like it so much that there's actually a book I just finished that I'm working on, setting up something similar.
Okay.
Probably not as early, but, different time frame. And I want to go over, the one I want to go over is Big Leap, because it was an impactful book too.
Okay. The Big Leap. That has a lot of different language in it, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I'm remembering. Because I was going to join a group that was going to study it, and I got a copy of it and started reading it, and it's like, I have to learn an entirely different language. Reframing so many things, it's like it was too much work to even do that, so I didn't. But that doesn't mean I won't come support you and learn from what you're doing.
Yeah, I didn't, but I'm a little bit different generation, not hugely different from your generation, but
yes,
yeah. Like big sister, younger brother kind of generation, not kids or grandkids or anything.
Yeah, keep talking, Sean. Go ahead. I'll just
John, take the shovel out of my hands.
Right now.
Okay? Yeah, man, I gotta let you go on that one.
Do you see what I'm thinking right now? Can you can you see my coffee mug? Yes, exactly. All right, there you go. Okay, so let's move forward with the Napoleon Hill book. Edwin's back.
Edwin, yay.
Hey, Edwin, glad you can make it back. All right, so becoming money conscious. See, this is. I'm going to stumble. I know. Yes, John. Don't tell me I'm setting my to stumble because I'm saying. But I read it and I'm already. Money consciousness means that the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire for the money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. So my imagination, I have no problem. I can do that. I can visualize it to such a point that that's not a problem. Trust me, I can feel the RV or rumble in. I can see it in the checkbook that we go by the ATM and I can grab $100. And there's so many zeros there. I can see that. I can feel the windows are open, and so I can visualize all of that. So I think I need assurance that that's what that's what it means. I think that's what I'm looking for. Is that what it means? Because what I'm afraid of is where I want to go is that, again, all I'm thinking about is that dollar. Everything else gets to the side. I'm not, is it Decridge? I'm going to say we are studying it a few pages at a time. And take what you want, leave the rest kind of thing, but share what you know. Share as regards to the portion that was read. And it was pages 34 through 37. Here's a Google link to a PDF if anybody wants to catch up. It's actually the meat of the rest of the book, if you ask me. All right, so there I was. That's it. I can visualize all of that. Is that what's being described?
I believe it is. I mean, when you use a term like your mind is saturated,
mm-hmm.
then that's what that says to me, is that it needs to pervade every corner of your mind.
Okay.
To be thinking about where, and I like that he says it's not just, he starts it out with the money, but he deepens it and says this is applicable for any definite goal. Any definite goal, yeah. So whatever the goal is, whether it's all the number of zeros in your bank account, or like you were sharing an RV, or
there's zeros in the bank account too. There has to be, because of the ultimate goal.
And that's where Big Leap comes in, but we'll save that for another day.
Okay.
But yeah, it's whatever goal, like I have a goal for the zeros in the account, but I also have a goal to have the freedom to travel anywhere, anytime.
Location independence.
And stay, and travel and stay first class, like diamond class. I'm not even talking like first class.
Yeah, I'm a first class gal. I'm not the diamond. That would be nice. The diamond would be nice. I know what you're talking about.
Well, and when I read Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins, which excellent book if you haven't had a chance to read it. I lucked out and got it for free. All I had to pay was the shipping.
Well, actually, yeah, me too.
He shares a time when he had a young man pop up and say he wanted to make $1 billion or something like that so he could buy his own private jet. And Anthony says, wait, do you realize, you're going to pay X number of million for the jet? You're going to be spending like another $1 million paying the crew and another $1 million paying for fuel. And how much are you really traveling? But he really turned me on to this other option, and that's open seats on private jets. And I've compared, and first class flights from one location to another were the same price as an open seat on a private jet.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, well, thank you for that, because I do first class when I fly, and I do it for a reason, not just because I like first class. There's other reasons for it. But, if I could get an open seat and go to the same place, how fun would that be? Okay.
Yeah, you just have to have more flexibility, because usually what it is somebody's chartered the jet from point A to point B, and obviously the plane has to come back from B to
Yeah.
A.
Yeah.
And if they can put people
They
on there and
will.
get some money on it to help pay for the fuel, it's kind of like the hotel that discounts the rooms at the last minute
Okay.
because they'd rather have a room filled than an empty one.
Great tip. Guess who I'm going to be coming to soon. All right. So we were talking about being so focused and so definite.
That's part of my goal.
Yeah. Yep. And where I wanted to bring it back to was that being a part of the goal, that in the 6 steps and the preceding and after reading, it says that how are you going to get it, but what are you going to give in return? And I really like that. Because that says, that brings it back to my mind of the business and the services that I offer and the products that I offer, and, who I'm talking with, I'm giving something in return. That transactional part. It's important to me that the person who's paying for it has value, and that makes it more meaningful to me to be making the money that's going to ultimately get me to achieve my ultimate purpose.
Yeah, and I really appreciated the way he covered that you have a definite goal, with not just I want to have a lot of money or I want to have enough money, because those are very subjective. You put a number on it. I want this number. I want $1 million, or I want $1 billion, or whatever,
right.
$1,000.
Whatever the dollar amount
maybe $1,000 is all you're looking for. But have a definite goal in mind, a specific, very, like we all know the SMART, very specific and nailed
measurable,
down.
achievable,
and of course, right, and of course, like this book and several others kind of launched the whole law of attraction, kind of where it is today, the law of attraction. But a lot of people, what I see is they just visualize, okay, I want this. I have a desire for this, and I'm just going to throw it out to the universe, and that's it. But
because
like
I think,
said,
therefore it is.
In the 6, right?
Not because I think, therefore I am, which is an entirely different connotation.
Or I think, therefore I will do.
Even better.
Because it isn't a magic genie that we just say, I want this goal, give it to me. It's like he says, it's okay. I desire this goal, because he says, don't make it a wish or a want, but a burning desire for that goal. And then have a plan, have that definite plan of what you're going to give in exchange for it. And then, then he adds in the visualizing it, and let it saturate your mind, and keep it in front of you every day, repeating it. So I think that's the key, and that a lot of people miss. There's these steps, and a lot of the reading I've done in other places too, it says, you want more value out of the market, you got to put more value in. Whatever value you're getting out, whether it's a paycheck or client fees, it's based on the value you put in. So if you want more, you got to put more out.
Welcome, Jay and Brenda and Dr. Nicholas. Good to have you with us. And Jeff, your open seat for whomever wants to share their thoughts about this part of the book, page 34 through 37, the 6 steps outlined by Napoleon Hill. If you understand it, if you don't understand it, that's cool. That's what we're here to do, is study it, share our thoughts on it. I'm already picking up some great things that I had completely missed, and I read the pages. So what did I miss? I missed the focus on the word desire, because Sean pointed out Napoleon Hill isn't talking about want or wishes, right? He's talking about the desire, which is very different. And when I read it, even though I even remember thinking as I read the word wish, I don't think in terms of wishes, because I'm a firm believer that if wishes were horses, we'd all have a ride, right? Hey, fool. That's all it is. It's just stuck up here. Oh, I wish, blow a candle, move on. But want, I was putting in place of desire. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because I really do want to stick with the verbiage, because I know the power of the word, and I know the power of the suggestion that's being put to me as I'm reading it and as I'm hearing. Martin, the book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Here is a PDF on the Google link. No sign up. You don't have to do anything. Just click it and get your own copy and read it. Google it. You can read portions online. You can see video, what have you. We read that little portion so that we could have a manageable discussion and keep it to the hour. And there's two big things I'm taking away from this morning for myself. One is John gave me the recommendation, without stating it as such, but by his sharing, that I'm just going to put on my 3x5 card that which the 6 steps tell me I should do. Yes, James, absolutely. And mine would be a standard bread, thank you, or possibly a gypsy. But anyway, put it on 3x5 card, read it twice a day, because that's what the steps tell me to do. I'm going to write it down and carry it with me, and a minimum of twice a day. I don't know that I'm going to do the 5, as John has shared that he does. And then the second one is stick to the verbiage that's being used. And Sean brought up the desire and the importance of the word, because it is different than want. So thank you for that. All right, jump in, share your thoughts. We have, good 10 minutes or so left. Hey, Edwin, good to have you back.
Thank you. I was trying to sit out there on the porch, but it didn't work out. So I'm back in my home office now.
All right. All right.
So let me, we're talking about the 6 steps. It talks about desire, and just to put a little bit of my personal
that's what I want.
Experience here. When it says number first, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Many years ago, let me think back in 2007. In 2007, I started on a project with a friend of mine. It was an energy project. And one of my roles was to try to acquire the financing, or try to, raise the capital needed for that project. And one of the key reasons that I loved that project was because we were going to help millions of people, just acquire renewable energy. And the amount of money that we needed to raise was $100 million.
Okay.
I have never been in, that number never crossed my mind before. It was always a million, a couple of million, but it was $100 million that came to my mind. And I thought at the moment that was very impossible to do. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do that. And I just started putting all those negative beliefs in my head again. But then after a while, I started thinking about, okay, let me figure it out. Let me determine exactly what is that we're going to give in return. And, just following the steps, going through this, I could put that as an example now. The return was that we're going to give, lower cost energy to a lot of people that really needed it. And, we're actually helping the environment by doing that. The definite date, we had a date when we needed to get started, when the project needed to get started. So we had a date. We had a plan because, everything was already laid out, how everything was going to be worked out. We had all the logistics in place. And then, just getting to it. And then, once you have your mindset and once you have the desire into it, it's just like, if you focus that desire and you have that mindset in you, people that are going to help you accomplish those goals and accomplish that desire, they're going to start coming your way. And needless to say, within 6 months, we were able to raise that amount of money, that capital that we needed. The project did fall through. We didn't continue with the project because of other circumstances. But my main objective, which was to raise $100 million, it was there. I was able to do it. We didn't use it, but I got to my objective. I got my desire, what I needed to do, I accomplished my goal. So, if you really desire something, it could be done. You could make it happen.
Thank you for outlining that in a practical experience way. That's what I benefit from most, is hearing that we had all of these. You had all of these. And by virtue of being focused knowing what you want, knowing what you desire, knowing and being clear on what you're going to give in return. How hard did you have to work to find the people that might be interested in helping you? Meaning, you said people were attracted to you. It sounded like you became more open to seeing opportunities, and people were attracted to what you were offering. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you become a magnet, and the magnet starts attracting the things that you desire, that you want. Obviously, that magnet at the same time attracts a lot of the things that you do not want because of the money reason. But you learn how to weed out and how to put the people that you don't want to be part of that team aside, and just continue with the ones that are there to help you accomplish your ultimate goal with the right benefit, not for the wrong reasons.
Fantastic.
And what I mean by that, one of our biggest obstacles was when you're on the process of raising capital.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that call themselves brokers, and what they do is, they give you a false pretense. It's like, oh, I'll go help you, get the money, but I need money up front. And I'm a true believer that the rewards come at the end, because I know what I could provide to people. So, I don't need to get paid up front to show them my rewards, to show them what I'm capable of doing.
Right.
So on this scenario, one of our big obstacles was to find people that could bring hedge funds, or to bring people that could bring capital without us having to give them a commission up front.
And you were able to find them.
Correct. We were able to find them, and we're able to find several of them.
All right. So where my thoughts are going then is you were able to find them because you realized that's who you needed to find. So you had a clear view of, in your mind, a vision of who is it that I really need to have help me here, which goes right back to what's listed in the 6 steps, which is be very clear on what you desire, be able to visualize it, figure out how you're going to get there, right? Correct. So it applies to that as well. How cool is this?
Yes. And another thing too that applies to it a lot is that, we have to become the type of person that we have to become in order to achieve great things, and in order to accomplish a lot of things we want in our personal lives and, financial, relationship, whatever it is that we have.
Right. And you're freezing up, but I heard you say that we have to realize we're not here to do everything by ourselves.
Correct.
Nor we don't have to, and it's not a requirement. I can put forth the goal. I can put forth that which I desire, and be open to having others help me get there.
Yes, but we do
or
need
to
help.
Seek others.
And it's okay to seek help. It's okay to ask. And just I might not have experience in something, but I know somebody that is an expert at that.
Absolutely, I'm all for that. Well, as evidenced by having the morning program here to help myself, but also, I started this all just telling everybody outright. It's very selfish. I did it so that I would benefit, and, it's what I wanted. But part of it is that I'm giving too. In return, I am sharing the experiences that I have, my viewpoints, my time, and all that it entails to have this happen. So others are benefiting, which is even greater for me, that to have others benefit from this. And so I'm all for the being willing to ask somebody who has what I don't, or is better at what I might have, to help or to share or to provide guidance or what have you. I was telling somebody recently, I said, if I be honest about it, there's a reason there's 7 billion other people in the world. If I was meant to be by myself, you all wouldn't be around here, right? Oh, poor Edwin is frozen. Well, at least it's a good shot, right? Anybody want to jump on the seat? We have a few more minutes. Share your thoughts about what the three of us and Sean, when he was on earlier, what we have shared about the reading. The idea is to keep as focused as possible because we're going to be reading the entire book. That's my intention. I will be here weekday mornings. You can subscribe from my profile once I've got next week's program set up. And, let's study together and learn together, right? I've gotten my nuggets. How's that? How about that? Anybody got nuggets that they're taking away that they can take through the day and do a little differently? What about you, John? You heard anything that a reminder or something that you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's like I think we were talking about really at the beginning of the conversation. It's easy to forget these steps. It's easy to allow other influences to come into our lives and distract us from these things. And one of the things that I found very impactful, and I think that points out here, is focus. So wherever you're sitting right now, if you just take 10 seconds and I want you to look around the room here, I'm going to pick a color for you, and look around the room and find that color. So I want you to look around the room and find everything that's red. Look for red, look for red, look for red, everything that's red. Just count up all the red stuff, counting the red, looking just for the red. Okay, so next I want you to look around the room and I want you to look for all the blue stuff. Find the blue, look for blue, find the blue, all the blue things. Okay, so how much red did you see when you were looking for red? You found the red, right? There was maybe even some purple. You were like, that's close enough to red in your mind. You picked those things. And the same thing happened when you were looking at blue. You were like, blue, 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 and it stands out to you instantly. And I think that's at the end of the sixth step when Napoleon Hill outlines this is, as you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. Uh-huh. And having that focus, I just demonstrated how your mind does that, how you can focus in so clearly. Now, when you were looking for red, you didn't see yellow. When you were looking for blue, you didn't see orange. You're able to focus in on that specific color and bring that into your mind. So when you're doing these 6 steps, the thing that stands out to me is that you have to see it. When you're reading your statement, you have to see it, you have to feel it, but most importantly, you have to believe that you're already in possession of it. It's already in front of you. The money's out there, the abundance is out there, the car, the RV is already sitting on a lot. Go touch it, feel it, sit in it, go find it. Yeah, exactly. So, and that makes it so real to us that we're able to just manifest those things right into our lives because they're out there, they already exist. And if they don't, then we're gonna draw it to us anyway. We're gonna be able to manifest that.
Terrific. All right, so I am going to sign off in terms of the recording because I do upload this to my YouTube channel. And once I've stopped recording, we can go into free-for-all for a few minutes and then get on with the day, because that is the important part of this morning mindset, is to prepare ourselves to move forward in the day with a mindset that will bring success, will bring our desired goals to us. So I want to thank everybody for being here. It's been a joy to have everybody here and meet a few new faces out in the chat. Next time, maybe join us in the live stream. Thank you, Edwin, for your thoughts. Thank you, John. They've been quite helpful. Thank you, Sean. So Charlene Burke here saying, let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, grow our businesses. Until